First of all, Mr. Speaker, that this is the issue that takes the most time of my staff in my office. People calling, raising concerns, not just employees, not just people that are looking for help from the system, but also employers. We heard recently from the owner of a paving company in Dartmouth, who, as other employers have said, is concerned about the fact that these measures, the measures being brought in by this government, are driving seasonal workers out of our region. They're literally driving them out of Atlantic Canada. And that's affecting this business owner that operates a paving company. It affects fishermen, boat owners, owner-operators that operate a few months of the year. It affects tourism owners and operators in Atlantic Canada, Mr. Speaker, in Nova Scotia and throughout the Atlantic. In fact, throughout this country, it affects people in the tourism sector because our tourism sector is seasonal. It affects people in the agriculture sector, Mr. Speaker. In other words, it affects the whole economy of Atlantic Canada. And what many of us who have talked with our constituents and talked with governments and others in our provinces and in our constituencies, what we can't understand is that this government that claims to not want to do any harm to the economy and do everything they're focused wholehearted and 100% on the economy and making things more prosperous, would bring in measures like this that are devastating the economy in one region of the country in particular, in Atlantic Canada, without consultation with employers, without consultation with premiers. Mr. Speaker, the Premier of Nova Scotia has expressed his disappointment and, frankly, his disgust at the lack of consultation on this issue. We in Atlantic Canada and Nova Scotia have a seasonal economy. There's no doubt about that. And whether it be in the fishing industry and for seasonal companies like this paving operator, Mr. Speaker, they depend on people in the community being available when they're needed. They train them, they invest money in them because they're there on a regular basis. In areas like for this owner of the paving company, he told us that he trains his workers to make sure that they don't get injured on the job. And if they're not there, then he has to invest in more training every single year for the new employees if he's lucky to find them. I've heard the same concerns raised by owner-operators in the fishing industry, in the lobster industry, Mr. Speaker. It's a very dangerous, if not one of the most dangerous occupations that we have. And the people that are there, Mr. Speaker, are concerned about the lack of training for issues like health and safety. Mr. Speaker, let me say before I go much farther that I will be sharing my time with a colleague to be mentioned later. But that issue of health, I mean, that was one of the first calls I got was from a fish boat captain who was concerned about the health and safety of the crew that he has in the back of his boat. That he has people, the same people, every year and has had for many years. And if you've ever been on a boat when they're out fishing for lobster, Mr. Speaker, it's fast-moving, it's chaotic, and it's dangerous. And if people don't know what they're doing, then there are very serious health and safety concerns. And so what this skipper said to me was, what this means is not only am I potentially putting everybody in the boat at risk, because I'm going to have people that maybe aren't as well trained as they should be, but I'm going to incur additional costs. I'm going to incur additional costs every year in order to train these employees. That's what the operator of the paving company said when he called our office. That's what we've heard from farmers. That's what we've heard from tourism operators, from operators of inns and restaurants and other seasonal activities. Mr. Speaker, what this government has done is they've added greater burden onto the backs of small business people that are trying to cobble together a living, that are keeping our communities in rural Canada and in rural Atlantic Canada. In this case, is where I'm kind of focusing on, and so not only is is this government focusing their attention to bring down unemployed workers and to, in effect, depopulate places like Atlantic Canada. They're not only attacking unemployed workers, but they're also attacking small business people in communities throughout Atlantic Canada. And people are asking me to try to find out why it is this government, who says they're pro-business, said they're pro-economy, why it is that they're picking winners and losers. Why is it that they've decided that Atlantic Canada, the small businesses, seasonal industries are going to be losers under this Conservative government? That wasn't part of the Conservatives' election campaign in 2011. They didn't tell small business people in Atlantic Canada that they were coming for them. They didn't tell the unemployed that they were coming for them. They didn't tell seniors that they were coming for them. But that's exactly what they've done and what they're doing with this bill. And with these measures, all the measures that they brought in as they deal with employment insurance are penalizing workers, and they're penalizing small businesses, Mr. Speaker, and that's wrong. There's no question in my mind that that's wrong. You know what's been going on lately? I've been increasingly getting calls in my office about people that can't even get through to the 1-800 number. People that are trying to follow these rules, that are recognizing that they're going to be punished, and they're going to be punished more if they don't follow the rules, can't even get through to the Employment Insurance Office, to Service Canada. People are calling by the half hour, day in and day out, to try to get through. And you know what they get? They get a message that says, call back at a time when there's less call volume. So, people that have called my office have said, we've done that. We've called early in the morning. We've called at the end of the day. And it doesn't seem to matter. I've spoken to half a dozen constituents directly who have indicated to me, Mr. Speaker, that it took them a week in one case, a week and a half in another case, to get through after calling persistently hour after hour. So you've indicated my time is coming to an end. I just want to say, on behalf of the constituents of Dartmouth Coal Harbour, on behalf of people in the fishing industry who talk to me, on behalf of the people of Atlantic Canada who have raised concerns with me, they're asking me, why is this government attacking unemployed workers? Why are they attacking small business people, in particular in seasonal industries? Why is it that they're trying to depopulate Atlantic Canada? Why have they decided that the prosperous Canada that they say that they're trying to build will not include Atlantic Canada? The people in my constituency, the people in Nova Scotia, the people throughout Atlantic Canada want some of those answers from this government, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Questions and comments, questions et commentaires. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Human Resources.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. You know, I sat and listened to the member opposite speak about what he believes is what's happening in the employment insurance program. I encourage the member opposite to state the facts as opposed to creating this mythology of what he thinks is occurring. He should read the facts of what is actually happening. You know, in ridings like my own, where people have read the facts, where they know exactly what is going on, they have come to realize that this is an excellent program and these are great changes. It's better connecting Canadians to jobs in their local area so that they have opportunities. So I'd like to ask the member opposite a very simple question. Has he gone to www.workingincanada.ca and looked at the great tools that are available so that he can tell his local constituents exactly how they can better connect themselves to a local job? Because that's what our government has done. We've created 920,000 net new jobs through tools exactly like this. Does he even know about this website, and has he actually instructed his constituents to consider looking at it?
The Honourable Member for Dartmouth Port Harbour.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Interesting question. And it gets to the other issue that people raise with me when they call. They say, why is it that this government thinks that the working people in Atlantic Canada are lazy? Why do they think that we're all crooks? Why is it that they think we're ignorant? Why is it that they think we can't be trusted? Why is it that they think that we can't and don't want to work? Why do they think that we don't want a job? Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Speaker, and this is what I've said to these people that have raised those questions with me. Because that's what they tell us. Because that's what they're telling us each and every day, that the people of Atlantic Canada don't want to work. The people of Atlantic Canada are engaging, unemployed Atlantic Canadians are engaging in fraud, that they're bad people, and that they need to go out west somewhere in order to find a job. And that when they're not able to get the answers to the questions they have, because they can't even get through to the 1-800 number, it's because they're not trying hard enough or they simply don't understand.
Questions and comments, questions et commentaires. L'Honourable Député de Charlebourg.
The Honourable Member for Charlebourg-Saint-Charles. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to hear the member about the repressive effect of this reform. This policy doesn't encourage employers to raise wages. It doesn't encourage employers to provide better working conditions, but it doesn't encourage employers to offer lower wages, that is 70% of normal wages, and forces people looking for work to accept these kind of jobs with lower wages. So I would like to ask the member what he thinks about where we're heading. Families' debt levels are rising, we know that, and wages are plummeting. So what is the future for this province?
Cole Harbour.
Well, I thank my colleague for the question, and it's a very important question. Where are we headed under this Conservative government? Well, it seems to me that we're in Atlantic Canada. Maybe the rest of Canada is prosperous, although that's not what I'm hearing. But I'll tell you what, the people of Atlantic Canada, especially unemployed people, and people that work in seasonal industries, feel that they're being attacked by this government. Their wages are being lowered. If they happen to be unemployed, their wages are being driven down. Companies are allowed to bring in foreign workers that they can pay 15% less to do the same work. This government is not doing anything to help create jobs in Atlantic Canada. What they're doing is they're ensuring that small business people in seasonal industries can't, in fact, operate and provide the jobs that they need to.